This week, instead of going through the Torah portion, we're going to look at the Maharal on the upcoming Chag, the upcoming holiday of Pesach, of Passover. The Maharal has a significant work on the holiday called Gvurot Hashem, the strength, the power of Hashem, which have lengthy introductions and include commentary on the holiday, ideas of the holiday as well, and the Haggadah itself. So we're just going to look at one very brief section. In the Haggadah, we learn ודור, חייב אדם לראות את עצמו. In every generation, a person must see themselves כאלו הוא יצא ממצרים, as if they themselves left Egypt. So here, the Haggadah is telling us, and we're supposed to understand and try to really embody and bring into ourselves the idea that the story of Passover, the story of the Exodus, isn't just a biblical one, it's not just a religious one, it's not just a historical one, but it's something which each and every one of us went through or are going through, or we have to see ourselves as if we went through that, which the Maharal explains, v'lo yabit hador hahu ledor shiatzu. Our generation shouldn't look at that generation, the one of the Exodus, as if gam ken rak yira hador shehu hayotze. We have to see ourselves as if we went out. Nibli shiabit she'acherim yatzu gam ken. Don't look that others went out. We really have to focus on ourselves. So he talks about that at length, and then he asks a question. Yesh makshim, ma ho'il lanu hayetziah. There's some that ask, how, if we want to say, fine, we want to say every generation has to see themselves as if they themselves left Egypt. So we say, okay, here we are, we left Egypt. Ma ho'il lanu, but how does that help us? Hare, anu mishubadim b'shar malchuyot. Because we, our generation, are still oppressed by other kingdoms or nations or societies or systems. Meaning, through much of Jewish history, Jewish people have been in regimes or countries where they did not have full freedom. And there's, of course, a spectrum. I, in 2019, living in America, have it very good and have almost unlimited freedoms. But that has not been true for so many Jews over history. And the Maharal asks, sort of on their behalf, so it's very well and good to say, we too left Egypt like our ancestors, but if we're still living in a period of oppression, how does that help us? We still don't have those full freedoms. I might see myself try to empathize with that generation, but how does that help me? And he concludes the question, Ma'ishna malchut Mitzrayim mishar malchuyot. We're thinking about that we escaped and left Egyptian oppression, but what about the other ones? Says the Maharal, v'divrei havayhem. By the way, this is in Gvurot Hashem, Samech Aleph, Part Aleph, Chapter 61, Part 1. Divrei havayhem, these words are incorrect, they don't make sense. Ki kasher yatzu Yisrael miMitzrayim, because what does it really mean to say that we have to see ourselves as if we left Egypt? Kasher yatzu Yisrael miMitzrayim, when the Israelites left Egypt, kiblu hatov be'etzem, they received the good, the intrinsic good that this granted them. Ad shahayu ru'uyim be'atzmam lihiyot b'nei chorim mitzad ma'alatam, such that they became worthy intrinsically of being free people according to their very nature. V'zota ma'ala atzmit liYisrael. This is an essential aspect now. Since the Exodus story, it is essentially true of Jewish Israelite people that they are fit to be b'nei chorim, to be free people. Shehem ru'uyim liyot b'nei chorim etzad etzem alatam. That is, since the story happened, it is part of the very essence, the core of what it means to be a Jew, is to have the freedom, the capacity for freedom. the intrinsic nature towards this state of being. V'davar mikri lo yivatel davar atzmi klal. And therefore, if in the course of the last thousands of years of Jewish history, Jews have indeed experienced oppression, that is davar mikri, that is incidental to the nature of what it means to be Jewish. And what is incidental can never nullify that which is intrinsic. And what's intrinsic is our capacity towards freedom. Davar mikri lo yivatel davar atzmi klal ki adayin al Yisrael hamayla hazot. Even when we're in a position that is not good for us, it still does not override the fact that we have this intrinsic capacity towards being a b'nei chorin, being a free people, be'etzem im hashibud b'mikra, even if we are incidentally living during a period of oppression. Ki achar shehotziya kadosh baruch hu et Yisrael mimitzrayim, since God took us out of Egypt originally, natanotam b'nei chorim v'lo od. God put this capacity into us that can never be removed. So says the Maharal, how he understands this is, when we say on Passover night, B'chol dor vodor chayav adam lirot עצמו כאלו הוא יצא ממצרים, that in every generation we have to see ourselves as if we left Egypt. This is not a purely historic or backwards looking notion. It's about understanding that I am a person that has the intrinsic capacity and the intrinsic desire, the intrinsic yearning to be free. This is, of course, something all humans have. And for the Jewish people, we say that we know this capacity was placed into us in our roots of our ancestors in Egypt, and whatever incidental period of history we find ourselves living in, and you can expand it further and say, as just a human being, not part of the klal of Bnei Yisrael, but as the prat of being a Jewish person who has this intrinsic spiritual root, that whatever incidental period I'm going through in my own life that is oppressive and that is holding me down and not letting me advance and expand into what I can be, we have to know and remember that we have this intrinsic internal drive, yearning, and capacity to freedom and to openness, and to never forget that. And that's what we're trying to do on Passover night when we think about our ancestors, and to know that we too experienced that and therefore have this capacity to move forward. I wish you a chag kasher v'sameach, a beautiful, meaningful, and joyful Passover period. More learning with you next week.